Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to a new standard format and a new gameplay video. So for anyone who's been following along, Bloomburrow came out today, although the MTG Arena servers were balked for a few hours after the release, so not being able to play too much. But with it came a whole host of new creature types and tribal types, some which we've not really seen before. I put a poll on YouTube the other day to see what deck people like to see first, and the answer was lizards. Lizards is one of the tribes that's got a huge amount of support, and while there were some lizards that have been in the game before, the vast majority of the cards in the deck are new. So let's quickly go over them. So first up we have Iridescent Vinelasher, a 1 mana 1/2 with Offspring 2. Offspring is a new mechanic, which the joke is everything's just kicker. This is literally just kicker. When you cast it, you can pay an additional 2 as you cast it. When you do, when it enters, you create a 1/1 copy of it. And then the creature itself has landfall. Whenever a land enters under your control, this creature deals 1 damage to target opponent. So a great landfall trigger. You can play it for 1. If you play it for 3, you get a 1/1 version of this, so you get that landfall trigger twice. But if you have it on turn 1, it is well worth playing on turn 1 because it can just carry you in games. But if you draw it late, obviously you can get that extra value. Next up we have Hide Claw, another 1-drop, a 1 mana 1/2 as well. Whenever you attack with 1 or more lizards, Hide Claw deals 1 damage to target opponent. And then you can pay 1 and a red to put a +1/+1 counter on Hide Claw. Activate only if opponent lost life this turn and only once each turn. So something we'll be seeing in the most of the other cards. The lizard theme is triggering something if your opponent's lost life this turn. And Hide Claw and the Vinelasher are great ways to do it without actually having to get in for combat damage. It is well worth attacking with the Hide Claw to get that 1 damage ping, even if you know your Hide Claw is going to be blocked and die. Next up we have Flame Cash Gecko. When it ETBs, if an opponent lost life this turn, add black and red. Then you can pay 1 and a red to discard a card and draw a card. What's great about this, let's say you play a Hide Claw turn 1 or a Vinelasher turn 2, attack with a Hide Claw or play your Vinelasher, play the Gecko, you get a red and a black, play another Gecko, get another red and a black, play a Gev, play a Fireglass Mentor, play a Go for a Throat. It is just a bit bonkers really what this can chain into. And then having that ability to discard a card and draw a card, and because you can pay for that with the mana it generates, if you could generate a mana and don't have any 2-drops, you can just do that to discard and draw. Next up we have Fireglass Mentor, a 2 mana 2/1. At the beginning of your second main phase, if an opponent lost life this turn, exile the top card, 2 cards in your library, choose 1 till the end of turn. You may play that card. That is only to the end of the current turn. So you're going to be putting a lot of cards into the bin or keep putting them into exile with this, but when it can draw you an extra land, it's great. So sometimes it's worth playing this turn 2 after combat, just so you don't get a trigger if you definitely can't play anything. And then let's say turn 3, you play a land with the Iridescent Vinelasher, you ping it, you wait till your second main phase, you look at 2 cards, you might be able to play them, you might be able to get a land, so really good. Gev is probably one of the powerhouses of the deck, a 2 mana 3/2 with ward, pay 2 life, which damage is something for 2 is relevant, but a bit like in the life gain deck I played the other week with Amalia, ward, pay a certain amount of life. I don't think it's that good, but it's better than nothing. And it says other creatures you control enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on for each opponent who lost life this turn. Obviously it's going to be 1, but is also really powerful with all out ways to damage our opponent. And then when you cast a lizard spell, Gev deals 1 damage to target opponent. So that's a great way to trigger that +1/+1 counter on Gev. You play a lizard, you damage your opponent. When it ETBs, you get a counter. Next up, we have Fault Stalker Warlock, which is a 2/2 menace. We do only 2 copies of this. When it ETBs, choose target opponent. If they lost life this turn, reveal their hand. You choose a non-line card from it, and they discard that card. So it's Thoughtseize basically. Otherwise, they discard a card. So if they don't lost life, they pick a card and discard. If they have lost life, you look and choose a card, non-land card. Then Valley Flamecaller. Basically, if a lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon, so in that case lizard, you control would deal damage to a permanent player, it deals that much damage plus 1 instead. So now Iridescent Vinelasher is doing 2 every time you play a land, Higher Claws doing 2 every time attack, Gev does 2 whenever you play a lizard, plus discounts combat damage, so you know it essentially gives all your lizards plus 1 plus 0. Then and the 2 more new cards, Patchwork Banner, a 3 mana rock, but when it ETBs you choose a creature type. Creatures you control of a chosen type get plus 1 plus 1. We only have one of these. It's a good card to draw because it can basically result in a bit of an alpha strike, just buffer your entire board and also help you ramp. And obviously because every creature card in our deck is a lizard, it's going to buff our entire board. And 5, a new card, Season of Loss. There is a season in every colour, which they all cost 5. I think the blue one costs 6. But you choose up to 5 paw prints worth of modes. You may choose the same mode more than once. So 1 paw print, each player sacrifices a creature. 2 paw prints, draw a card for each creature you control that died this turn. And 3 paw prints, each opponent loses X life or X number of creature cards in your graveyard. We've only got 1 copy, so we don't see it often. I've only played it once. And what I ended up doing was doing the sacrifice one twice because our opponent only had 2 creatures. We sacrificed 2, then we drew a card for each creature we control, so we drew 2 cards. But if they just have 1 big creature, you could sacrifice, do the 2 paw prints twice, so you sacrifice a creature, then you'll draw 2 cards from it. So, and it can be a bit of a sweeper because we're quite good at going wide. Sometimes you might choose to sacrifice 5 and we end up with more creatures still on the battlefield than their opponent. And then returning cards are Laughing Jasper Flint, which is a lizard from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. So something you may have noticed, or maybe not, that every single lizard in our deck, and I think every single lizard in the set, I've not checked, is an outlaw. So in Outlaws of Thunder Junction, they introduced a overarching creature type called Outlaws, and as it says there, assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues and warlocks count as outlaws, and Laughing Jasper Flint's a really good outlaw payoff. So for starters, it says creatures you control but don't own are mercenaries in addition to other types, so mercenaries are outlaws as well. Begin your upkeep, X over top, X cards of target opponent's library, where X is the number of outlaws you control. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from among those cards, and mana of any type can be spent to cast those spells. You can't play lands, which is a bit annoying, but if you have 4 creatures on the board, which is not hard to do, because all our creatures are outlaws, we will be exiling the top 4 of our opponent's deck every turn, and can play them for using mana of any colour. And to round out the non-lands, we just have 2 copies of Shock and 4 copies of Go for the Throat. I did have a cut down because this is quite a fast meta, or it seemed to be in the pre-release that I watched, and so far before cut down would do it. But Go for the Throat is really good against the Night Errant of Eos, which is still kicking around obviously, and Shock can deal with smaller creatures as well. Onto the land base. I did try a few different lands. I did try Jagged Barrens, I think it's called, which is the ETBs tapped but does 1 damage to target opponent as a way to trigger all our life loss triggers, but you don't want things entering and tapped. I did try the Fountain Pool, which is a new land where you can tap it and sacrifice a token and draw a card, tap it and pay a life to create a 1/1 fish token, and I can't remember the last one does, but only taps are colourless. And again, a lot of our creatures have multiple coloured casting costs, so you really don't want to have a land that only taps are colourless. So we've gone with Rockface Fidge is a new land. You can tap for colours, and you can tap for coloured, but you can only cast it to cast creature spells, so it can't cast Shock or Go for the Throat. And then you can pay 1 and tap it to give target lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon you control get +1/+0 and gains haste. 4 Blackleaf Cliffs, which are the fast lands, 3 Sulphurous Springs, which are the damage lands, 2 Cavern of Souls, just in case of counter spells, and then 4 Fable Passages. I just have them across multiple sets, which is why I split out, which is really, really good with Iridescent Vinelasher, because it's a way to basically get 2 land drops a turn. And you know, it's not unrealistic to have maybe 4 Vinelashers out, or 2 Vinelashers and the Valley Flamecaller, and all of a sudden your Fable Passage is basically hitting your opponent for 8. I did try a few different cards. Valley Rockcaller, which is a squirrel, but it says when it attacks you, it deals X damage to target opponent, you gain X life, where X is a number of other various creature types, but including lizards. I thought that might be good, but it didn't really work. There are a few other cards that you could try. There's one from Outlaws of Thunder Junction which gives your entire, basically gives other mercenaries, other outlaws haste, and again all our creatures are outlaws. And then a card that I didn't try but I want to, there's an enchantment from Outlaws of Thunder Junction called Double Down, which whenever you cast an outlaw spell you copy it, but unfortunately it's in blue and there's no other reason to play blue, but maybe for a future deck. That's the deck. It's a very powerful deck, but you need to curve it properly. You generally need that 1-drop into 2-drop into 3-drop, and that's what makes it so powerful. So make sure if you're playing this deck you do that. I hope you'll enjoy it. I had a great time playing it, and I think this new format's going to be really, really good. If you do enjoy it, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. So we're on the draw. We've got a okay starting hand. We can see cut down something they play, get the mentor, which will hopefully start drawing us extra cards. Well, letting us see extra cards. There's another mentor. Oh, let's play out one of them. We can cut down that, which we will do, and then we can swing in, see what we hit. I will take a Vinelasher, play it out, and then we'll play out the village, ping them for 1. And now we can pretty much trigger our dealing damage just with the Vinelasher. Let's play out the Warlock. Take away their other scout, and no attacks for now. Fortunately, can't play either of those, which is annoying. Did they draw something else apart from a land? Or are they just going to explore? We'll play out the Flame Caller, and then Fabled Passage. We may as well crack it now. We can swing with the Warlock because it has Menace. And again, can't play anything. Oh no, we can. We can play the Hide Claw. Well, that's a big a big beast. But I am not particularly fussed. No attacks. We will... doesn't really matter. And then let's get the banner. Choose Lizard. And next turn we probably just have lethal. Well, we might not. There are 5 creatures, we have 6. One of our creatures does have Menace. We can knock them down at 5 just by playing a land, and then down to 3 by attacking. So let's say they double block the Warlock. Yeah, I think we probably did have it. We only had to get in with 1 creature because our creatures were buffed, and we did extra damage as well. Well, this isn't the fastest hand. We don't have any black to play cut down, so I'm going to have to mulligan this. This is better. I'll keep, and I'll put back the Barons. So up against Mice, well, I'll get this down and hopefully we'll be in a position to play out the Gecko and then maybe cut down, or maybe we cut down first. Now we could... some things which aren't lands would be great. Don't have something else. Wow. "24 lands, and we've drawn all of them, it seems." Yeah, that's the card we didn't want to see. I think we're pretty much dead. Gonna have to keep back. Yeah, I think we are dead. And if we're not, well, we don't have any creatures left on the board. Down to 1 and then another land. That was a bit ridiculous, the amount of lands we drew. We go first. We've got a very good curve. With drawing some more lands. Next turn we can get down Gev. So I'm against the Prowess deck. Swing in. Then I think I play out Jasper Flint next turn. Down Lizard. No attacks. And next turn we can get down the Banner, or maybe we get down the Mentor and see if we can get some lands. See what we hit. Sure, I'm going to play that. Not going to give him a fish. Don't know why it tapped my Cavern of Souls there, but never mind. And swing in with the Laughing Jasper Flint. Hopefully we draw a land. We hit a land. We do. I suppose it doesn't really matter. We'll get a Cavern of Souls again. And next turn we can play out the Banner, buff our entire board. Get down another Fireglass Mentor. But our opponent's down to 9 already. They didn't necessarily have to do that now. They could have done that at instant speed, which made blocking harder. Or blocking easier for them, I mean, attacking harder. Because obviously the Flood Caller would have given it flash. And yep, our opponent scoops it up. We got down to 9. I think we only attacked for 6 damage. 5 from Flint and 1 from the Flamelasher. So just shows the power of lizards. So we're on the play and we've got Vinelasher into Gecko, into Gecko. So that's a pretty good curve. And maybe we can hit another 2-drop. We can play with the Gecko. So we'll play out the Gecko that pings them. Sorry, play out a land, play out a Gecko, play out a second Gecko, and let's get rid of Go for the Throat and draw a Laughing Jasper Flint. So you would like another land? So for Fable Passage comes into play untapped. That's pretty good. Play the Flint, Jasper Flint, and swing in. And next turn we can play out the Flame Caller and then play out Fail Passage, ping them for 4. That doesn't make much difference, it's just obviously we don't get as much choice. Another Flame Caller's good. They do have that stick maybe for Fabled Passage. Do they have another removal spell? They do, but I can crack this now and get in that additional damage. Does it make a difference? Not really. So we do have lethal. But they've shown they have quite a bit of removal. But they've hit 2 Go for the Throats. A Glob. But that should be game over. Yep, there we go. The Vinelasher on turn 1 is quite hard to overcome, especially with Fabled Passage. Wow. Well, we can obviously Cavern to get down our various lizards. Fabled Passage can fetch Swamp, and hopefully draw more swamps for our Season of Loss. But we are on the draw. So, lizard. Lizard. Play out another Gecko and then pitch a mountain. Draw another High Claw. Well, the Preacher's not ideal. Wouldn't mind drawing the Vinelasher, the one that has landfall damage an opponent. But we can steal some cards from their deck. We'll have a look at 3. Alright, we can play the Hired Claw. And we can cut down their 1-1. Fortunately, we can't play the green shell, but next turn we can Season of Loss, and hopefully they won't have too many creatures. And maybe we can draw a bunch of cards. They don't create another token, which is good. No blocks. So we can then Season of Loss, sacrifice 2, draw, and that's all we need. We'll sacrifice both geckos. Draw 2. Gives a good draw. They still do have more cards in hand than us, which is unfortunate. But we can take that out and go for the throat. So let's play our Gev. Do they have a cut down? I think they do. Yep. But it cost them 2 life. And then we will just take out their Sentinel now. And next turn we can play the Flame Caller, attack and deal at least 6. See what they play out. That's if they're still here. Do they have their own season of, what's it called? Season of Loss? Shouldered. Yep. We swing in. That might just be lethal. Yeah, I think it is. There we go. We had exactas anyway, but buffing the higher claw just made doubly sure. Well, we can hide claw, then Gecko and Fireglass Mentor. Assuming it survives. And then turn 3 we can Valley Flamecaller. They're thinking about it. Alright, let's attack. Play out the Gecko. Play out the Mentor. I wonder if they got removal. Well, they're plotting Pitiless Carnage. Obviously we can't play anything. But they are probably dead next turn. Yes, when you only have lands to sacrifice, that's not great. I think we need a mulligan for a 1-drop. As bizarre as it sounds. Or do we hope Gev can get us there? We've got the mana. We're okay. Hoping Jasper Flint can get us some extra cards as well. Although usually it's a popular card to remove. They've mulligan down to 6. On Lizard. Would have really liked to 1-drop there, but no dice. Not seen the Vinelasher for a while. Well, they can't counter this. They might be able to bounce it, but for 2... Are they on a domain deck then? Next turn we can get down Jasper Flint. Oh, they're on the frog deck. Okay, let's get down Flint. And next time we can get down the Mentor, see what it hits, and maybe play out the banner. That's a bit annoying. Alright, let's see what we hit with it. So we'll play out the springs, play out the gecko, and then we will play out the Vinelasher. And next time we can get out the flame caller. Can actually get down the banner, then the flame caller, buff our entire board. But a 2/4 Death Touch is not the easiest to get through. They just put a blocker out of the way. Maybe they have another one. I'm okay with that because we'll be able to hit for a lot. Right, let's do this on Lizard. Then let's do... Well, let's see what we hit with the Mentor. We hit another gecko. I think we just play out the Vinelasher. And then play out a land. They are down to 1. And we can still actually play out the gecko and win. There we go, Exacxes. For some reason I forgot the banner, tap for mana. So on the draw, but we can Hired Claw into Gecko into Gev. Ooh, 3 Hired Claws. Well, I have no issue them jumping. That's a pretty beefy 2-drop. And it's only an uncommon. I could kill it. No, I couldn't actually. Play the Fireglass Mentor, assuming Gev survives. They might have a fight spell. Not even a fight spell. That's really, really frustrating. And for once, I'm not absolutely flooding. I'm bricking. Wow. Just to get the trigger. I hate magic sometimes. Well, at least we get a land. I won't attack. Well, I can polywallop. Well, first of all, let's fetch swamp. I just polywallop. There, 3 tree scribe. Well, we can draw. That's pretty powerful. But I think I'm just going to draw. Where's all my lands gone? And that decided to tap both my tapped my black mana, which was really, really stupid. But Jasper Flint is putting in some work, but I don't have any blue mana. Oh, they do from Poison Dart Frog, obviously. Yeah, I know. Auto tap. You've got to watch out for the auto tap. They seem to be having mana problems as well. Well, let's take out their Lily Splash Mentor. Have they got protection? It seems like we got something. Sorry, Hired Claw, you are being sacrificed. Yeah, that's fine. Be really helpful if we actually had more lands to play. But they seem to be in the same problem. I'm going to get rid of their blue mana. Jeez Louise. What is going on? And again, why did it tap? The auto tap is bonkers. That's going to be a real problem. I just need a land. That's even better. That's 2 lands. I will get a mountain, so I can play a gecko if I need to. Well, can't play with those. But I can play out a gecko and then use that to we're in a good spot. They do have blue mana now. Yeah. We bricked hard, but so did they, and we got there in the end, even though auto tap was not our friend. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to the wrap up. So no win rate, just because the servers have been really bad this evening and my MTG assistant didn't load, so we didn't actually pick up the win rates. But it was a pretty good win rate. The only time I really struggled was when we flooded out with lands. When I first played the start playing the deck, I had 24 lands. I put it down to 23 because I in one game we saw 7 lands, which is a third of our lands in a lot less of our deck, which is frustrating. You can loot away them with Flame Cash Gecko and potentially other things with Fireglass Mentor. The only other times I struggled as well where just didn't really curve out. We did have some mana issues, even though the vast majority of our mana can tap for multiple things or search for different things. The amount of times not often, but there are games where I've got 3 lands and all mountains, but I've got Iridescent Vinelasher and Gev and Fireglass Mentor, so I can't actually play them. Or the other way around, you have all swamps and you have a Hide Claw. That's just frustrating, but that's what Magic is. You could possibly go down a land. The issue with this deck is you need lands for the Vinelasher, but and you want lands to hit Season of Loss, so you don't want to. It's not like Mono Red Prowess where you can do everything with 3 lands. You don't need any more. You do need to hit your land drops reasonably frequently. And yes, Fireglass Mentor is really good at making that happen, but sometimes you just whiff. So, but a really, really powerful deck, and I think probably going to be one of the more powerful decks in the meta. That and Mice which I'll be playing in the next video. But for now, a really good one, a really fast one, a really good way to get through games and get up the ladder. I had a great time playing it. Hope you all enjoyed watching it. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in my next video.